What a week in gaming it has been. Arguably the biggest surprise came on Monday with Halo Infinite's free-to-play multiplayer dropping about a month early to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Xbox. Fortunately, we now know that Halo Infinite's multiplayer does in fact kick butt. It's a blast, which is something that most of us expected after the initial beta, but there are issues here, such as the overall lack of content and the terrible Battle Pass progression system. That is actually something that 343 is actively investigating, with the Halo community manager saying on Twitter, to address the feedback on Battle Pass progression, we will be making targeted tunings to our model later this week. To start, we'll be adding play one game challenges to help make sure you consistently progress through the Battle Pass by playing matches the way you want. We'll also be adjusting, fixing bugs with, and removing some weekly challenges based on your feedback. These tunings to challenge difficulty will help you progress through weekly challenges faster and thus directly speed up your progress through the Battle Pass. So look, I'm surprised the significant progression issue made it past testing, but I am encouraged by 343's timely response. This is arguably the biggest thing holding back this multiplayer mode, and it looks like soon enough it should be resolved. Maybe because of the outrage facing another beloved franchise, maybe just because the game needs more time, Volition announced a lengthy delay for their Saints Row Reboot. The game, which was scheduled to launch in just a few months from now on February 25th, 2022, is now arriving 6 months later on August 23rd, 2022. As I've said before, I'm increasingly skeptical about this game. The cinematic debut trailer looked like a poor man's Watch Dogs, and that alone says a lot. Volition seems to want to move away from the franchise's DNA, which is its tone, and I just have concerns this will pale in comparison to the original Saints Row. Hopefully this lengthy delay will be worth it in the end, but judging by the public's initial reaction to this reboot, Volition has a lot of work to do. Cyberpunk 2077 accomplished something that seemingly shocked almost everyone, getting nominated for 2 Game Awards, one of which I actually think it should win, and that is Best Score in Music. The other is far more controversial, and that is Best RPG of the Year. Yes, you heard that right. Many have been livid with CDPR getting this nomination due to how disastrous this game since launch day has turned out. Also, many feel that this is hardly an RPG with a lack of meaningful choice, but to be honest, in my opinion, I don't really think this is a big deal and is more a reflection on the weak last 365 days it has been for the RPG genre. Certainly, I do not think Cyberpunk will win this, and it should not, but it's not the end of the world just because it's nominated. Now, the bigger award that everyone will be talking about is Game of the Year, and there really is not a standout title in my opinion, no clear favorite in the race, which does make for, I guess, a more interesting show, which will be happening December 9th. Next year, there are some potential big contenders, but for the Game Awards 2021, nominated for Game of the Year includes Deathloop, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Metroid Dread, It Takes Two, and Resident Evil Village. The big omission from this group is Forza Horizon 5, one of the best rated games of the year, which many feel was robbed because of it quote-unquote just being a racing game. Honestly though, I don't know what to make of this list, and I don't know who wins. What do you make of it? Who do you think wins? Let me know your thoughts below. Someone understands the big problem that is about to hit AAA gaming, and that is NFTs. Various companies from EA to Take-Two to Square Enix to Ubisoft have declared it as the future of this industry. Well, Xbox head Phil Spencer has a much different perspective, telling Axios that what I'd say today on NFT all up is I think there's a lot of speculation and experimentation that's happening, and that some of the creative that I see today feels more exploitative than about entertainment. Ding ding ding, someone just said the quiet part very very loud. Obviously this won't stop the NFT movement that is coming, but I can hope this is indication that Xbox will steer away from ever touching this toxic feature. Now, that wasn't the only big thing that Spencer had to say, because he also advocated for game preservation, something this industry has long been against because why preserve when you can re-release later on? Spencer specifically said that my hope, and I think I have to present it that way as of now, is as an industry, we'd work on legal emulation that allowed modern hardware to run any within reason older executable, allowing someone to play any game. I think in the end, if we said, hey, anybody should be able to buy any game or own any game and continue to play, that seems like a great North Star for us as an industry. It certainly is, but something I never envisioned happening because of the overall greed of this games industry. Overseeing the Far Cry franchise for the last half-decade, Ubisoft creative director Dan Hay is leaving the company. As noted by VentureBeat, up until this departure, Hay was working on the next entry in the series, which Ubisoft intends to launch as its live service Far Cry, similar to the upcoming Assassin's Creed Infinity. Maybe this is a good thing, to have a fresh perspective overseeing this franchise which has become mostly stagnant, but only time will tell. Battlefield 2042 had its early release go live a few days ago, and to the surprise of just about no one, the game is not ready and is getting hit with a very mixed reception because of it. It seems like DICE decided to repeat the same mistakes we just had with Battlefield 5 because learning lessons is very hard in this game's industry. It's also the definition of insanity, repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different blah 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 blah. You get the fucking point. Currently an OpenCritic, this year's Battlefield is sitting at an overall score of 74 out of 100 based on 49 reviews, with just 56% of them recommending the experience. The Sixth Axis writing in their 6 out of 10 review, "There's a good game to be found within the Battlefield 2042 and fun to be had as the spectacle of Battlefield's signature gameplay is taken to new, more expansive heights, but it's marred by a handful of unsuccessful gameplay design changes, hurriedly implemented features, and bugs at launch." Niche Gamer giving it a 7 out of 10, saying, "I wanted more for Battlefield 2042 and I wanted more for this new live service game. With other glaring issues, I feel this might need to be somewhat avoided." The Gamer awarded 2042 a 4 out of 10, saying, "Unfortunately, this goes deeper than a rocky launch. It's hard not to be disappointed with this 2042 offering. You know, when the devs said that this is a game to celebrate Battlefield, they've stripped away some of the most fundamental elements of the series and added tornadoes and wingsuits to make up for it. It's marketing 101. Explosions, tornadoes, and swooping helicopters look great. One day they probably will be great. DICE is one of the best when it comes to post-launch patches, for better and for worse. But if you're on the fence about buying Battlefield 2042, I would just wait." And that last part was the same thing said pretty much with Battlefield 5 and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Just wait for it to get better, and by the time it does, most players have moved on. User review scores on Metacritic for Battlefield 2042 highlight a mostly negative reception from players, as on PC the game currently stands at a 2.4 out of 10 rating based on over 2,200 ratings. Most of the negative comments can be summed up with this top one, which states, "This has nothing to do with Battlefield. No scoreboards, no classes, no destruction, no servers, no stats, no chat. The weapons, OMG, there are literally only 4 ARs. What the F is this? It tries to be a mix of Warzone, Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege, Apex, and so on. The cringe after game lines. This is an unfinished, unpolished, and broken game. Do not buy this until everything is fixed." I've only had the opportunity at this point to play a few hours of Battlefield 2042 myself, and it feels like a mess. I personally don't care for the map design that I've seen thus far. There certainly is not enough weapons. Game audio, especially footsteps, are just totally broken, and overall this is going to need a lot of work. I've only scratched the surface of this game, but I'm not having fun. Portal though seems pretty decent, but I think DICE and EA's big nightmare was the launch of the free-to-play Halo Infinite multiplayer, which is a blast and taking many eyes away, especially because again it's free to play. So yes, this seems like a giant misfire once again for DICE, and I think it's arguably having a more disastrous launch than Battlefield 5, which is saying a lot. I do still find it hysterical that on the Battlefield 5 subreddit, the most upvoted post is a warning about the next Battlefield game. It's a reminder of all of the chaos, all of the lies, all of the missing features that players suffered with Battlefield 5, and here we are with Battlefield 2042 doing it all over again because lessons not learned, unfortunately. Now, another shooter that's had a rough launch is Call of Duty Vanguard, which, not surprisingly, was met to a mixed reception, especially its zombies mode, which is bare bones. Now, you don't need to look at reviews to see that this game is having a rough start, as in the UK, it's been reported that launch sales are down about 40% compared to last year's title Black Ops Cold War. Getting a bit more specific, physical sales are down about 26%, while digital sales are down 44%. To further confirm that things are not going well, Activision has already announced a free trial for Call of Duty Vanguard, going on right now as of recording. Now, a bad launch for their biggest franchise is not even close to the most significant problem that Activision Blizzard as a company faces right now. The company's misconduct allegations just will not stop, and now this time they have directly implicated CEO Bobby Kotick. We now have confirmation that indeed Kotick is the POS that we all knew he was. Activision PR has done a great job these last few months acting like he truly cares cares about all the abuse that happened under his watch. He's gonna stop it now. But thanks to some excellent reporting coming from the Wall Street Journal, we now know that Kotick tried covering up much of the abuse and things that were happening behind the scenes the last number of years. And he himself has faced, through the years, allegations of harassment and making threats against employees' lives. Yes, the man that has his name in Epstein's Black Book turns out to be a horrible human being. Surprise, surprise. Within the Wall Street Journal's explosive report, it's claimed that a Sledgehammer game supervisor in 2016 and 2017 did that type of assault on a female employee. The female employee reported the incident to Activision HR and other supervisor. Nothing happened at the time. She then threatened legal action and filed a police report. Activision would in the months to follow reach an out-of-court settlement with the employee. Bobby Kotick, though, knew about this and did not inform the company's board as he is supposed to. This is just one example of many in this piece of Kotick knowing about horrible misconduct happening under his watch and essentially not doing anything about it. Dan Bunting, co-head of Activision's Treyarch studio, was accused by a female employee of that type of harassing her in 2017 after a night of drinking. Activision's own HR and supervisors investigated in 2019 and recommended he be fired. Instead, what happened was Bobby Kotick intervened to keep him. Kotick believed counseling was a more suitable punishment. After the Wall Street Journal reached out to Dan Bunting about this incident, he left the company. Yes, he resigned. In a very bizarre turn of events, Blizzard's CTO, Ben Kilgore, faced numerous accusations of that type of harassing female staffers over several years, and during an investigation, Kilgore lied about whether he had a relationship with a lower-level employee. Kotick did in fact approve Kilgore being fired in 2018. However, former Blizzard head Mike Morhaime sent an email out to employees thanking Kilgore for his many contributions to the company. As you might expect, some employees were very confused by this praise, considering why he was fired. But really, there are just numerous examples of disgusting things that were happening behind the scenes at Activision Blizzard for years. It's said that since the California lawsuit, Activision has received more than 500 reports from current and former employees alleging harassment, assault, bullying, pay disparities, and other issues. One of the notable responses at the time to the California lawsuit, I believe all the way back in June and July, was from Fran Townsend, a response which was described as tone deaf. Part of that letter attacked the lawsuit. A recently filed lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of our company, including factually incorrect, old, and out-of-context stories, some from more than a decade ago. The Activision companies of today, the Activision companies that I know, are great companies with good values. And later, we cannot let egregious actions of others and a truly meritless and irresponsible lawsuit damage our culture of respect and equal opportunity for all employees. The letter to staff also highlighted all of the so-called good things they do, which includes equality and diversity training, anti-harassment training, inclusive hiring training, and all of the rest of the corporate propaganda nonsense that you would expect, essentially trying to use those precious words inclusivity, diversity, and equality to act like they are a very good company that truly cares. This letter received a lot of blowback at the time, enough to have Bobby Kotick release a statement saying the company's response was tone deaf and wrong and they were sorry. Now, here's the thing. Within this Wall Street Journal piece, the big revelation about this letter is that Fran Townsend did not write it. We'll have to take off the hoodie to find out. Oh my god, it was actually Bobby Kotick. Yes, Kotick used a female executive's name to write fan fiction about Activision Blizzard. Then, when everyone hated the response, he came out with his own statement signed with his name to say, yeah, our response was bad, and we're sorry. Now, in my last news video, we talked about how one of the new co-leaders of Blizzard, Jen O'Neill, was leaving after only a few months. Her official PR statement was something I didn't believe, and it turns out I was right. The Wall Street Journal claims that in September, a month after becoming the Blizzard co-leader, she sent an email to a member of Activision's legal team in which she professed a lack of faith in Activision's leadership to turn the culture around. Very different than what she said the other day, but at the time in this email she said, it was clear that the company would never prioritize our people the right way. Miss O'Neill said in the email that she had been that type of harassed earlier in her career at Activision and that she was paid less than her male counterpart at the helm of Blizzard. Yes, Mike Ybarra apparently makes more than her. And she wanted to discuss her resignation. I have been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against. A few months later, and that has happened. Now, within this piece, it wasn't just that Kotick was accused of knowing about all of the abuse that happened under his watch. It was also said that he took part in some of this himself. Over the years, Mr. Kotick himself has been accused by several women of mistreatment, both inside and outside of the workplace, and in some instances have worked to settle the complaints quickly and quietly, with some cash and an NDA being signed. It said that in 2006, one of his assistants complained that he had harassed her, including by threatening in a voicemail to have her offed. An Activision spokeswoman responded to this allegation by saying Mr. Kotick quickly apologized 16 years ago for this obviously hyperbolic and inappropriate voicemail, and he deeply regrets the exaggeration and tone in his voicemail to this day. Right, because that's just normal people behavior, and I'm sure Kotick's been tossing and turning all of these years thinking about that incident. There's also mention of the infamous "I'm going to destroy you" case, in which in 2007, this has been documented over the internet for years, a flight attendant complained to Kotick that the private jet's pilot harassed her, and his response was firing her. She later sued, and in a separate action related to legal fees in the case, an arbitrator, citing what he said was sworn testimony, wrote that Mr. Kotick told the flight attendant and her attorneys, "I'm going to destroy you." Later on in 2008, the case was settled for $200,000 US. So yeah, Bobby Kotick, a terrible human. And as I said before, the report goes into much more detail on the many more incidents of Kotick knowing about abuse and really doing absolutely nothing. But the reaction to this Wall Street Journal report has been huge. Many, including employees and shareholders, have been calling on Kotick to resign. Now, the issue with these headlines is the fact that most shareholders are sticking with Kotick. The one group calling for Kotick to resign or be terminated controls less than 1% of the company. But yes, right now, the shareholders of Activision Blizzard are sticking with Epstein friend Bobby Kotick. Activision Blizzard stock has tanked since this report went live, and the company is on the defensive, releasing a statement calling the Wall Street Journal piece inaccurate, misleading, and ignoring important changes. The equality diversity programs, guys. Now, if you don't remember, Activision Blizzard only recently implemented a zero tolerance policy on harassment. And as you might expect, many employees were thinking, isn't this evidence that, Bobby Kotick has to go now? But if you guessed that rules don't apply to Kotick, you guessed right. In a call with staff, which went absolutely nowhere, executives were asked if the new policy would apply to Kotick, and the response was no, because there was no evidence that Kotick had done anything wrong. Yes, Activision Blizzard investigated itself and found it did nothing wrong. Truly courageous stuff. Give him a medal. So if Activision Blizzard and its shareholders won't do anything, it looks increasingly like the rest of this industry might step up and put the final nail in the coffin, as PlayStation boss Jim Ryan essentially trashed Activision Blizzard just the other day. In an email to employees, Ryan linked to the Wall Street Journal's Tuesday report. He wrote that he and his leadership were disheartened and frankly stunned to read that Activision has not done enough to address a deep-seated culture of discrimination and harassment. We outreached to Activision immediately after the article was published to express our deep concern and to ask how they plan to address the claims made in the article. He wrote, "We do not believe their statements of response properly address the situation." Oh, you telling me that the harassment programs and, the diversity training isn't enough? Come on, Ryan. Kotick is doing the best he can. Now, as Activision Blizzard stock continues to tumble, employees are staging walkouts, and now pressure is coming from the outside. Kotick's control over Activision may soon be coming to a close, or, in what may be more likely, Kotick and his loyal shareholders will hope for things to blow over and for people to forget. For what it's worth, Activision Blizzard has given staff some extra time off during the upcoming holidays. You gotta boost that morale somehow. It's also been noted by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier that Bobby Kotick has been doubling down on his commitment to better the workplace. In a video to employees just the other morning, he of course attacked the Wall Street Journal article and defended Activision. "Anyone who doubts my conviction to be the most welcoming and inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important this is to me." And I'll leave it at that because, oh boy, Bobby, making me laugh here. Now, another company that is going through its own rough patch and disaster right now, which is obviously entirely different from this, that is Rockstar Games, with their lackluster GTA Trilogy Remaster, which continues to be mocked and roasted by much of the internet. As we've explored in a couple videos now, there are just countless issues with this remaster, which may never get addressed. It also seems like every day now, there's more issues with this remaster being discovered, whether that be a fast food burger not rotating, Grove Street Games screwing up Rockstar Rockstar's logo on the minimap, even more strange character model appearances and issues, and assets that are supposed to be in the game just missing. It's quite the mess, and while Rockstar Games has largely remained silent, the parent company Take-Two stock has taken a tumble of over 5% since the disastrous launch. In the investing world, a Jefferies analyst noted that the launch will likely cause investors to lower their December quarter estimates and continue to question Take-Two's ability to expand the portfolio while maintaining quality. Admitting that the expectations for the launch had already been low, the Jefferies analyst said the launch troubles likely will remove some upside, and that while several fixes have already been implemented, including the PC version being available again, we do wonder how the game got launched in this state. Believe me, that's a question that we all have as well, and I think the easy answer is that not many resources were spent on this project. It seems like Rockstar Games or Take-Two just threw it to a small indie developer who's known for mobile and indie games, and they clearly were not ready for a project of this scale. Then, of course, on top of that, Rockstar Games clearly tested this, and I guess for some reason they thought it was a-okay to release. Don't know how that decision happened. More critic reviews of this Trilogy Remaster have also come in, and again, it's reflecting that this remaster is disrespectful to the legacy of these beloved games. On OpenCritic, based on 39 critic reviews, the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition has an overall score of 55 out of 100, with just 13% recommending it. Even IGN gave the remaster a 5 out of 10, saying GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition is defective, disappointing, and surprisingly disrespectful to 3 classic games and their many legions of fans. On the Metacritic PC review page, there are now over 4,400 user reviews, with 130 positive and 4,230 negative, which tells you all you need to know about how angry people are with the work that was done on these games. Last but not least, Xbox is making clear their plans moving forward with some of their most highly anticipated games. When they purchased Bethesda last year, many became concerned about the fate of games like The Elder Scrolls VI on PlayStation, and those concerns have always been real. Some have shrugged them off, declaring that there's no way Xbox doesn't put a game like The Elder Scrolls VI on the PlayStation 5, but I've always believed that Xbox wants some console-selling games and or reasons to have people to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, and a game like The Elder Scrolls VI will accomplish just that. Sure, they won't sell as many copies, but I'm certain Xbox doesn't really care about that. Their goal is the long-term success of their subscription service. In a profile with GQ, Xbox head Phil Spencer said, "It's not about punishing any other platform, like I fundamentally believe all of the platforms can continue to grow, but in order to be on Xbox, I want us to be able to bring the full complete package of what we have, and that would be true when I think about The Elder Scrolls VI. That would be true when I think about any of our franchises. As I've said since the start, I don't think the door is entirely closed on The Elder Scrolls VI being on PS5 one day, but at launch and maybe for a few years, the only way to experience that game will be on the Xbox ecosystem." Anyway, a very busy past few days in this games industry. What do you make of it all, and what are you playing right now? Let me know down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games, and again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.